talked about, hyped up prospects, at least based on my comment section, has been Ben Saraf, who broke out on the FIBA EuroBasket scene this summer as a legit prospect for the 2025 draft, was comically dominant. And it was all over his tape, like 50, 40-point games, like 10 steals, shit like that, where Saraf's ability to change speeds and directions with his handle and fluidity were really unstoppable against like good, like a good Spain team with Hugo Gonzalez and Kasparis Yakuchonis and a really good Germany team. Everyone absolutely shredded. His ability to change paces and alter speeds and create for his little pull-ups was crazy. And he's so good getting to his shot in the mid-range too. As you look at him just play this defender like a fiddle. Saraf is going to change speeds and directions so many times here, right? Hop back, cross, double cross, get downhill, hop again, little fade mid-range. He's just such a dynamic, controlled ball handler. You don't see a lot of 18-year-olds. He's one of the youngest players in this draft too, with the kind of like rhythm and cadence that Saraf is able to exhibit. And he flashed some like really high-level passing stuff too, creating off of a live dribble, draws help after splitting the defense, and is able to kick it down to his big. And Saraf as well was able to like hold the defense with his handle, use his eyes to manipulate the defense, see him kind of no-looking here, freeze this interior defender, and find the big. And Saraf just started his play in EuroBasket. I forgot that I have one more pass here, I think. Yeah, just more awesome manipulation. Saraf holding the defense, staring him off, lefty inside. He's a lefty, but Saraf just began league play at Ulm, where Killian Hayes and Nasong and Juan Nunez and Pacome Dadia played in Germany in the German league. And I'm really curious, just like to what extent is this dominance going to translate from the youth leagues? And it was dominance. We look at these stats: 28 a game on good, pretty good efficiency, shooting the ball well from three, which hasn't always been the case. He's been inconsistent in like the youth tournaments from three, as we can see. 4 steals a game, 5 assists, just absurd statistical dominance on both ends, and just dominance in general. And early on in his pro career this year, he played pro last year, but his German league career, the results have been quite nice. I've got to say, like, he's not as dominant, of course, but he's been the lead guard creator for this team and has done quite well. This was his first game where he was able to get by this defender using his burst. And Saraf just isn't the greatest athlete in the world, and I do think that's a bit concerning. But there are moments when, like, when there are big spaces, Saraf can try to accelerate and get away from a defender. But even then, we see Saraf isn't able to generate a crazy amount of separation. I didn't realize he missed that. But point being, there are some issues with Saraf in terms of, like, translation at the moment. He struggled with that. His ball control at the moment is definitely a problem. Like, he hasn't been able to hold his handle as snugly against pro defenders that he was able to against like youth competition, right? And you can really notice his lack of vertical pop and late step explosion. I think his first step is honestly pretty good, but Saraf really struggles to finish in traffic, just doesn't generate a lot of push and force. And to me, it's a guy who plays a lot smaller than he actually is. Saraf is, I believe, 6'5", but just doesn't always play like it. And Saraf is a really great decelerator. He hits the brakes really well, but his top speed just isn't much to really write home about. And I do have some advantage creation worries long term based on these first couple games. Saraf should be totally clear, running, just sprint with the ball against this guy. He cannot get by the defender at all. Great deceleration to slow down, and the balance there, finish with his offhand. All that stuff is awesome. I think some of the footwork and the craft and the balance are fantastic, but just really struggling a lot more than he did in EuroBasket to separate against grown men. And that's kind of what I figured might happen. You can see, again, he kind of gets blocked a good amount where he's not able to get any pushed here and just doesn't get high off the floor. He's not able to really do much against bigger, stronger, better, taller, quicker athletes. That's been part of the story for Saraf. Again, we see here he gets blocked from behind, but just doesn't seem to have the same juice creating space. Like this spin move, I think the handle's not super tight, like he loses the ball here. This spin isn't super explosive, and therefore he doesn't get a huge advantage. The rotation comes easily, isn't able to make a pass or anything, gets blocked. You can see when the margins get tighter in terms of athleticism, size, skill, the downhill creation really just hasn't been the same level of overwhelming. And I do think that makes sense. Like, the EuroBasket competition just isn't nearly as strong, right, as this legitimately awesome pro league. I think I accidentally showed that clip twice. Did not mean to do that. But it hasn't been all bad for Saraf by any means. Like, there have been good examples of his ability to turn the corner. And his numbers have been great. Like, he's scoring really well. More the first game than the second game. It's only been 2 games. But Saraf able to use a screen here and turn the corner on a tightly playing defender, hold him off, and finish in traffic, honestly. This was a better example of him getting up. Like, he still doesn't get up super high, but Saraf is able to push a little bit more off of, is that his right foot? I can't tell. I think it's his right foot, right? Yeah, off the right foot. And he's able to finish right there. But there are also times where he's not able to get that same kind of push off of his right foot. The finishing is not perfect, but we see the awesome deceleration again. This is such a great trait of Saraf that I think is going to translate. But then again, I'm a little scarred by Killian Hayes, who is a lefty who wore 7 at Ulm, who loved to win with deceleration and was a little bit slow. Yeah, hope not. Nope. Bang Saraf can shoot. Anyways, Saraf really is a dynamic on-ball creator for this. And I think his flexibility is really encouraging to me. Probably got fouled there, but still, like, Saraf isn't crazy explosive. Decent first step, and just these like next third, fourth, fifth steps don't seem to be particularly explosive. But I think the level of flexibility he can get right here, torso parallel to the ground, when he adds strength, which is, he's an 18-year-old. I don't fault him for not being strong. I think he can become really explosive and maybe use that to generate more strength and like leverage-based creation. So that's something that I'm pretty optimistic about because he is so bendy, and I really do like that trait of his. And Saraf's passing, while maybe not as wildly impressive as the EuroBasket stuff, has been really excellent. Like, beautiful skip pass to Noah Song, who I don't think I've talked about it on this channel. I'm not a huge Asong guy, at least relative to the lottery first round hype, but this was probably the best game I've ever seen him play. Just, he was a good player in this game. I saw some of the vision, which is good because I had been wanting to see that. And Saraf just has so much flair and is such a fun basketball player. Look at the score here, 79-79, 26 seconds left. Saraf running in transition, calmly flicks it behind his head to his teammate running. Just really oozes calm, cool, and collected as a playmaker. And this is an awesome play right here where Saraf is going to manipulate and hang in the air. Ooh, big dunk there. Quick, decisive attack off of the catch. Even though Saraf hasn't really been shooting threes that much, quick, decisive attack off of the catch. Hang in the air. Like, you'd think the pass is probably going to go out to the perimeter, but nope, Saraf is going to hang, wait for his cutter to clear Asong, and Asong with a huge dunk. Like I said, it was a good game for him. You saw some of the athleticism, some of the shooting. If the shooting is real, he can be a pretty solid player, I think. And Saraf is just so good at like the simple shit. He plays with so much great pace, snakes to the middle here, lefty flick pass that ends up getting an extra pass to Jessup for a corner 3. Just the little things that Saraf is able to do as a passer. They're not crazy flashy stuff. And this is where his handle, to me, even if it's not as controlled as it needs to be, like we saw earlier, it can definitely get poked against longer, stronger defenders. But just the way that he moves and can stop on a dime and is creative and deceptive. Like, he's in and out dribble here, or not in and out, just like a crossover here. Looks like he's going to set up a DHO or a ball screen this way. Boom, reject not baseline. Just reject the other way, pass back. It's really simple stuff, but he's using pace and timing and like screen manipulation as an 18-year-old that a lot of 18-year-olds aren't necessarily able to do. And this was a really nice play as well, where Saraf is able to set this screen up, pretty much just feigning that he's going to use this ghost screen. Crosses, and we see what happens when Saraf's handle holds up. He can be dynamic, he can be explosive, and these are the flashes that are really enticing to me, with the playmaking and some of the handling potential, movement skill. And his pull-up mid-range has been awesome. Like I said, the shooting is definitely inconsistent at this point, especially off the catch, but yeah, Saraf can really elevate for pull-ups and hit these tough contested jumpers that I think pair really well with his game. Because he's so pacey and controlled and like a tempo rhythm driver in the mid-range, I think it suits him well to be like a real pull-up mid-range threat. I do think there's like I question his off-ball feel and awareness. Like they'll kind of just like zone out off the ball. He's just like kind of calling for the ball. He's not working to get himself open or make space, and not like a huge thing. But I do like to note off-ball skill all the time on this channel, like my Grady Dick video off the top of my head. So I think it's only fair to point out, points where I think it's not as strong in some prospects, and I think it can be improved for sure. And Saraf is just like a stock generating machine. Defense is certainly like up and down. He's pretty skinny, very aggressive, but generates a shitload of turnovers, as we saw, like 4 steals a game in like EuroBasket in FIBA, and then I think he's had like 3 steals a game so far in the German league. So overall, I'd say early returns on Saraf are quite positive. I am pretty confident in saying I think he's a first round guy at the very least. Just really impressive combination of production and age at all levels. A really impressive handling creation game with some real passing manipulation, on-ball shooting upside defense. I have my ceiling concerns, right, when it comes to just being able to separate, because that can be such an issue for players. Like, don't want to invoke Killian Hayes because I don't think they're the same kind of prospect, but separation issues are real for these like full-time on-ball guys pretty much, especially if Saraf doesn't develop into a really great shooter, which I think he can. It's possible, but really early, still have a lot of questions, but he's pretty much done nothing but prove himself at least as a very legitimate future NBA player, regardless of how high that ceiling is. But let me know what you think. I certainly am not sold one way or the other yet, but I'm excited to watch this season play out. I wanted to sneak in at the end of this video is how kind of the history of high-level success in these European tournaments is very shaky. Like, just going back at like the MVPs for this EuroBasket tournament that Saraf just got, it's a very mixed bag. Like, there's plenty of NBA players and great ones in that. Tony Parker, Batum, Valanciunas, like recently Topic, Aldama, but a lot of really fringy guys. Like, I remember that Pekarsky team, a bunch of players I've never heard of, and it's even worse when you look at the younger divisions, the FIBA U16 EuroBasket, where like again Valanciunas, Sarge, like Tilly was a guy, like Killian Hayes, super fringy, just not a lot of track record of success. But I think that's a good sign for Saraf that he's been so productive outside of these youth settings. I just forgot to put that in there, and I wanted to add this in. So a little bonus.